fast forward this. Okay, so the black and white is being transferred by the sine wave.
Beyond a 15-minute YouTube video, but we can get a very good idea for the general concept and how they managed to reduce the necessary storage by a factor of 20. So let's see what they did. A digital image, when you zoom in, is just made up of a bunch of pixels, each of a specific color, and those colors are represented by some numerical value. Now, for this video, like that previous one, we will only be worried about grayscale images, where we can have black, white, and a continuous spectrum of different shades of gray. So pictures like these. Now, to send a digital image, we could just send the numerical value associated with every single pixel, which would then be reconstructed on the other end. But that's a lot of information, and we need something much better.
See, black and white, red and white, blue and white, these types of colors have a lot of density to them. Look at how blue that blue is right there, okay? Look at how white that white is right there. So when you're in any settings and you see a black, there's a black half gallon of milk carton on a black backdrop. In any light setting, the cones and rods within your retina, okay, distinguish the color density. And it gets processed through the optical nerve to the visual cortex. The sine wave that's being sent through ultrasound is deciphering it, and therefore it enables them to see the background and the environment better that the victim is in.
The algorithm that was used, we first need to realize that we can make any image from this all the way to this or Mona Lisa or whatever using sine waves. If that seems super weird, don't worry, it did to me too at first, because it doesn't even seem like images and these functions mix. But here's how they do. First, I'm going to graph z equals cosine x, which will yield a 3D plot that looks like this. All this is a regular cosine curve extended in an extra dimension. But we sort of don't really care about the 3D aspect, because what I'm going to do is color the top of this black, the bottom will be white, and there will be a continuous fade in between, so a spectrum of gray. Now we're going to look at this from the top view only. What we have here is a two-dimensional.
Okay, so you see this pattern right here? This is massively popped up along my routes. And so are the other patterns you're about ready to see. All of them are.
Cosine curve. It's an image that oscillates back and forth in one direction, but in color rather than height. And you'll notice it's constant along the y-axis. If I instead graph z equals cosine of y, then we get the same thing, but the colors are constant in the x direction and change in the y direction. If I increase the frequency, then we get faster changes in color, and lower frequencies correspond to slower changes. Now, if I graph cosine of x plus y, then the colors stay constant along a 45-degree angle. This is what we really care about. Cosine of some number u times x plus another number v.
They'll come and sit next to me in coffee shops carrying bags that are black and white, but they'll angle the bag so that it's sitting at a 45-degree angle. Okay? Absolutely.
Times y. When u and v are the same, we get what we see here. The colors are angled at 45 degrees, or 135 depending on your reference. And as I increase u while decreasing v, you'll notice that the angle changes, as well as the frequency in this case, until we get to v equals 0, where the colors are oriented vertically, like we saw before.
Okay? They prop up people along my routes that are wearing black and white clothes that look identical to that, and everything else that you see in this continued exposure.
Now, if we take, let's say, cosine of x and cosine of 2y, then combine them, we get a slightly more complex image whose equation.
This is propped up along my routes every day. Everywhere I go. Every fucking where I go. People wearing them on their t-shirts, handbags, scarves, hats, shoes, okay, vests, okay, things they carry, things they wear, okay, absolutely. So what we're seeing right here is you're seeing how
It is cosine x plus cosine 2y. If we then add in something like cosine 0.5x plus 0.3y, we get this. It's more chaotic. It turns out if you kept doing this with just the right functions, usually an infinite amount, you could create any grayscale image you wanted.
Okay? So, now, why is that important? Because if they can create any visual image they want, what are they doing? Well, I'm strongly suspect that this aspect of this is also connected to visual memories. Because, see, when on their computer, when you research at Google how remote neural monitoring, memory mapping, and stimulation, what they're doing, because I'm just now actually in real time wrapping my mind around this aspect of it. Visual memories, okay, they have color content connected to them. And why do you think when they create these staged events and gang stalking crimes, the person will either... now remember what I said earlier. The ultrasound can carry sound and it can carry visual images on it. Why do you think they're propping up people along my routes to repeat gang stalk, oh my god, and suck my DACK? Let me show you that real fast. Because sound, okay, and landscape noise, and mufflers, Google all those to the sensitization method of gang stalking. So let me go back to Google for a second and show you something here real fast. Okay. There's blue and white. Okay? Alright? So if I was to type in the following, MTS, gang stalk, oh my god. Alright? So I bring up this tweet that's got the YouTube, because I've been having a hard time lately finding my YouTube playlist link through YouTube. Okay, so here's the YouTube playlist right here. It's coming up. Okay? So what you want to do is you want to bring this playlist up, and when you bring the videos up in it, you want to listen for Gang Stalk, oh my god, and Suck My DSK or Suck DSK being said in the background. I'm going to bring up a video right now of me being at UCSD in 2013. Okay, so as soon as I play it, within the first 2 seconds, you're going to hear, oh my god, gang stalk and suck dick. While you're seeing that I'm approaching this building. So they were already propped up before I got there. How did they know where I was going? Was it remote neural monitoring? Listen. See if I hear gang stalk. Notice how many times you hear gang stalk, oh my god, and if you listen carefully, you should hear suck DACK said at least once, especially in the first 2 seconds. So I'm going to start it again. See if I hear gang stalk. Once you bring it up, you're going to see people, you're going to literally hear people, multiple people repeating it, including back to back. And there's hundreds and hundreds of videos in this playlist that show it being said everywhere. SDSU, UCSD, Arby's, the San Diego prosecutors and public defenders were caught saying it inside the courthouse in October 2015. At wooded areas, this crime made me homeless. So let's go back to a picture in my gallery real fast. And I know it might seem like I'm hopping around a little bit, but just bear with me. What do you see in this particular video, or in this particular picture? How ear implants are connected to what? Trigger words. Trigger words that are repeated through what? Hold on. Gang stalking. And what are they saying along my routes? Gang stalk, oh my god, and suck dick. Okay, so the trigger words, if you got an ear implant in you, get processed to the brain's audio cortex. The computer on their end reads it out, and then it's pre-programmed to execute a function back to the victim, like voice to skull with voice morphing. So the victim hears in their own audio cortex, oh, it's just another asshole. Okay, or it can stimulate a brainwave if the program is pre-programmed to send a stimulated wave to the victim that will stimulate a pre-entrained neural pathway that might have a visual memory reference to it. So let me give you an example of what I'm trying to get across here. When the guy came out of the store, who was a gang stalking victim, Okay, and he comes out of the store, and the guy that's going in seemingly accidentally steps on his toe, and that victim's toe has got a corn on it, or whatever type of things that you can get on your toe that would make your toe very sensitive. Hold on, I got a burp. Excuse me. So, say if you got a victim who's coming out of the store, and he's got a big toe on his left foot, and as he's coming out of the store, a guy that's going in is wearing black and white checkers, black and white stripes, or a blend of both, like you've seen in the video I just showed you a couple minutes ago, right? So when the gang stalking victim sees that black and white color coding, what happens is remote neural monitoring is interfacing with his brain and his visual cortex in real time. Now, as soon as he sees the black and white, he's also experiencing the pain of his toe getting stepped on. Now, remote neural monitoring, when it neurologically hacks you and then sends a pre-programmed executed function to the victim's brain in real time, it's done at the speed of light. So the pain that he's feeling in his toe can be experienced while the remote neural monitoring is engaging in brain stimulation against the victim in real time, so that the cloned emotions from the guy who was working on his car at that moment in time when his wrench slipped and he went into extreme pain and anger can be put on that victim's brain in real time as soon as that brain is processing the color coding. Because the color coding, what it's doing is it's getting sent back to the computer. And the computer is distinguishing the color coding, and it's breaking it down, and it's breaking the environment down that the victim's in. And the computer has already been pre-programmed to send a function back to the victim's brain once that environment is distinguished by the computer sent from the victim. And it's done almost instantaneously. It's done at the speed of light. So when the victim has his toe stepped on, the executed function from the computer back to the brain, when the brain is seeing the color coding, can be the heterodyne emotions from when the guy was working on his car and he felt intense anger and pain at the same time. That can then be put on that victim's brain to make that victim believe that that current pain and anger is related to the guy stepping on his toe. While he can be experiencing voice to skull with voice morphine. I've had it with this shit. I know this guy's a gang stalker because he's wearing color coding. Whether he knows about gang stalking or not. Because gang stalking forces you to notice this color coding. Okay? So it's their way of hacking into the brain so the brain can distinguish the environment. It gets sent to the computer, and the computer, through the speed of light, sends back the brain stimulation to the victim, while voice to skull with voice morphine is also being sent to the victim's audio cortex to fool the victim into believing that I'm sick of this shit, I'm going to say something to this guy, and that the anger and pain that he's feeling are his own. Okay? Voice to skull with voice morphine is where they can place a thought in your audio cortex in your own voice print, which could be, I'm sick of this shit, I'm going to say something to him. So when the guy's acting out against the guy who seemingly accidentally stepped on his toe, they're trying to make the gang stalking victim look like he's crazy. Because they're trying to make it look like his response to somebody accidentally stepping on his toe is an accident. Okay? But you see, the brain's being manipulated into being aware that it's a gang stalking perpetrator through the V2K and voice morphine, while the brain is experiencing intense emotions, anger, and pain, which the victim will believe are their own based on the stage prop, because the victim already knows that people are being intentionally propped up along their routes that have harassed them and bothered them and even assaulted them on prior dates who wore black and white. That's what all the prior assaults were and everything was about. It's because they need that black and white to be connected to a intentionally manipulated brainwave sent to the victim. So all this correlates together. Why do you... Because all you got to do is really think to yourself, why is gang stalking going on to begin with? And by the way, when you're right outside the entrance or in a store, or right outside the entrance of it, which can also be an exit, okay? Wi-Fi is right there. When you go to a grocery store, or a library, or a restaurant that's got Wi-Fi, before you go in, bring up your phone. And then press on Wi-Fi to see if that store's Wi-Fi is available to you right at that spot. Because remote neural monitoring, one of the main conduits it operates through is what? Wi-Fi. Okay? So, you ever wonder why people are propping up, why the host of this crime is propping up so much harassment right outside of the entrance and exits of businesses? Because Wi-Fi range is right there. Why do you think color coding is going on in gang stalking? Because when you research at Google extensively, in fact, let me bring this phone back up, okay? And I'm going to go back to Google. And I'm going to try and bring something up here real fast. So check this out. You go back to Google and you type in at Google, okay, I'm going to hit the microphone so I can talk it to text. How the brain distinguishes visual black and white. Okay? It's done through the retina and the cones and rods in the eyes. Okay? The visual brain colors black and white images. Okay? So why do you think they're propping up black and white along the victim's route? And red and bright orange? Why do you think that is? Okay? The perception and processing of color has fascinated neuroscientists for a long time, as our brain influences our perception of it such a degree that the colors, okay, could be, well, I don't know why they're calling it an illusion, but anyways, it's because of, so let me go back, you want to read that article, but anyways, what you want to do is you want to go back and actually type in how the brain distinguishes visual black and white cones and rods of the eyes. Okay? Cones and rods that are in the eyes themselves is what breaks down the colors. Because when you see black and white in any light setting, it's going to break it down. And this is where it gets really complex. When you research the mechanisms of the eyes, you'll understand that there are rods and cones in the eyes and the retina and stuff that interpret the information that you see. Okay? Absolutely. So you're dealing with a gang stalking victim who's got islands implants in them. Okay, the information is processed through electrical signals via the optical nerve. Okay? That's how they're getting the color coding gets sent back to them. Welcome to why the islands implants are there, in part, that are in my eyes. Okay? Okay? So do you see how this shit works? Alright? These wild, satanic, mass murdering whores literally sewed these into my eyes. And it makes me a walking, talking video camera. Everything I see gets sent back to them. Okay? So I'm going to bring this particular... Hold on. Because I want you to take a snap screenshot of this one right here. So you can read everything that's in it. Research brain and computer interface is remote neural monitoring. Trigger words being said along my routes. Gang stalk, oh my god, suck dick. I got literally 8,800 audio files of this sick shit being propped up around my routes. And let me show you another thing too here real fast. I'm going to go into Google Play Store. Munchkin butts and baby cakes. So I'm going to type in, I already got it there. So I press on sound frequency analyzer. Okay, I go to get this one. Okay, I go to open it because the icon widget on my phone has just magically disappeared. Now, this is picking up the sounds in my environment right now. Do you notice down over here, it's constantly picking up 21,000 hertz. That's the ultrasound. Okay? Now, watch what jumps when I say the word gang stalk. Gang stalk, gang stalk, gang stalk, gang stalk, gang stalk. Okay, you see 107, 170, 129. Gang stalk, gang stalk, gang stalk. Each word has its own sound frequency output. Auditorially, phonetically. And they know it. And if you got an ear implant in you, the sound processor, why do you think cochlear ear implants work? Which are some of the main type of ear implants that are being put non-consensually in gang stalking victims. It works by and through high band filtering of the phonetics of the sounds of the words you hear. Okay? Watch what it says. Watch what it shows out every time I say gay of gang stalk of gang. Gay, 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 gang, 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 gang. So when anybody says gang of gang stalk around me, it's going to produce the same general sound frequency output. And it's going to be processed in my brain as a superimposed audio signal on the ultrasonic sound as it's being processed in the brain. It's called auditory brain attenuation to the sound props that are propped into your environment. The frequency following response. And each word has its own sound frequency. Okay? It's an extremely complex crime. Okay? Because you got to ask yourself, why do you think landscape noise is used in gang stalking crimes? Helicopter noise, airplane noise, landscape noise, mufflers of cars, car convoy noise harassment as well. Why do you think all that shit is? Because those types of noise go on in every environment you can think of. So they sensitize you to that because they know that you're going to be forced to recognize that it's being propped up intentionally because it's propped up so often during the sensitization phase of gang stalking. Therefore, then, once your brain becomes sensitized to it through auditory brain attenuation, through the frequency following response, they know that it's going to create an auditory trained pathway. Therefore, at any time you go out and about in a community and you hear an airplane, a landscape noise, a lawnmower, okay, a specific retrofitted muffler sound connected to gang stalking noise harassment, it's going to excite that auditory brain entrainment, that neural pathway connected to it. Therefore, when they create an entrained neural pathway, all they got to do is reprop up that same sound connected to it, and it will stimulate it for it to fire. Okay? Going back to what? This video. The entrained
Remote
pathway.
neural monitoring is one of the terms we use for.
Okay? Because sound frequencies have their own waves.
The other term is psychotronic weaponry. Weaponry that has been designed to interact with the human nervous system in order to remotely pick up on someone's neural network or EEG and not only receive that and monitor it, but manipulate it and place it back into the victim to control their emotions or control their actions or bodily functions for that matter. The other more recent term we have for that is EEG heterodyning or EEG cloning. The difference between EEG heterodyning and EEG cloning would be, let's say, me remotely receiving your EEG and then duplicating it and putting that in another person to give them your same thoughts or feelings or physical reactions. EEG heterodyning would be receiving your EEG, manipulating it to put it back inside your head to give us a desired physical reaction or emotional reaction. Robert.
So the guy coming out of the grocery store, he thinks he's reacting to the guy stepping on his toe, when it's actually just either a modified brainwave, okay, that was created in him on prior staged events, like assaults, done through people who were in black and white. So when the guy innocently, seemingly steps on his toe, who's wearing black and white, even though he's staged, that way, when they clone that shit on his brain and force him to feel anger, it's not his in real-time anger. It was what was harvested from him and put onto one of his already captured brain-trained pathways that was created on prior dates during staged events. Okay? So it's like a mixture of all of it. And they blend this shit in together. Because when you want to get a hold of somebody and put them in a group home, you got to claim they're mentally ill or violent. Which is why they'll stage this shit, prop it up through color coding, while they're doing the neural hacking and manipulation through the brain entrainment, through the heterodyning, through the voice of skull with voice morphine, to make you believe that this is your current reaction to the current prop, while the person who's used for the prop is acting all apologetic. That's what all the prior staged abuse and trauma and rapes are about. Okay? So, let me just show you another thing here as well. Go back to Google. Okay, let me say this real fast. Auditorial entrainment to sounds. Okay, so that didn't come out right. Alright, so let me just go back and type in entrainment. I typed it wrong, hold on. Bear with me a sec. Okay. So, auditorial entrainment, neurons in the audio cortex synchronize their responses to temporal regularities in sound input. In temporally structured sounds. Structured sounds. Gang, gang, gang. Gang stalk, oh my god. Gang stalk, oh my god. Gang stalk, oh my god, suck dick. Okay? So do you see how all this demonic, sick, vile shit works together? Do you know how much money they make off a gang stalking victim when they put a gang stalking victim in a group home by claiming they're mentally ill, a threat to themselves or others because they acted out during a staged event when them acting out was all remotely neurologically influenced through neural hacking, through remote neural monitoring? Do you really think that they're fucking propping up people along all my routes?
See if I hear gang stalks.
When you bring this particular video up, okay, the third one in this playlist that I showed you a few minutes ago, that's UCSD as I'm fucking arriving on my bike. Because when you watch this video, you're going to see the handlebars of my bike facing the building because I just arrived. Okay? As soon as I turn this on, you're going to hear someone say, suck dick. Then you're going to hear gang stalk. And if you listen carefully, you're going to hear, oh my god, being said in the background.
See if I hear gang stalks.
Something right now, that motherfucking assault that they staged inside of Bonds on November 27, 2021, that big black girl they used, she was wearing black and white. And they were also told to stand behind me in the Starbucks line to talk extremely loud. Okay? Absolutely. Because when someone's having a loud conversation around you, that stimulates the auditorial nerve. And they were repeating gang stalking, oh my god. You should also know, the day of that event, before I arrived at Bonds, I made a statement in my tape recorder, let's see if anybody says gang stalk, oh my god, or suck dick, any place I go today. Now, the time difference, when I was at the bus stop and made that prediction in my tape recorder, to the time difference of when I arrived at Bonds, shows at least 30 minutes. Okay? It's been caught everywhere. Okay, that was UCSD. You just
Interrupt. This is the morning news broadcast.
Okay, that was this here. It's being caught at social services. Okay, this is hold on. This right here. This is it being done at Rouse, the one with the speaker in it. Okay, and Rouse is right across the street from right up the street from the current Bonds I go to, where it's caught at. Okay, that's a fucking literally. I mean, there's video at this video right here. This is a current at SDSU. Okay, you hear a guy say suck dick as soon as I turn it on. Listen. That's a fucking lovely. See, so who's the demonic bitch who's propping this shit up along all my routes? Who gang stalked me from fucking Michigan to Connecticut to San Diego? This is at a current at Jack in the Box. Here's a different Jack in the Box video. Listen to this. I had to call the police.
See if you hear gang stalk, Jack in the Box. Fires in Christ Road.
See, when you bring these videos up, you got to listen very carefully for what's going on in the environment, in the background. It was caught at Arby's. Arby's is this current Arby's right here. Okay? That's right across the street from Walmart on the other side of town. It's been caught at this fucking area. They went by and said it this morning on bicycles. Okay? So, the police and their lying whore ass, they can deny what's going on towards me and against me. All they want. All they want. But the truth at the end of the fucking day, why do you think the police are allowing gang-stalking crimes to go on? Because they know it takes time for the police themselves are part of the gang-stalking expedition. The people who are hosting it, who are intimately, directly connected to the police, they know it takes time for the brain entrainment to occur. Why do you think gang-stalking victims are reporting that they're hearing through voice of skull derogatory, identical, repeated statements, okay, as they're experiencing directed energy weapons attacks that cause traumatic brain injury? Why do you think they're doing that? Because when the brain goes into a traumatic brain injury state from the directed energy weapons and the electromagnetic weapons and extremely high levels of ultrasonic sound bone conduction, they want that brain in that traumatized effect so that they can create auditory entrainment to those types of brain states. The auditory entrainment occurs through voice of skull when the brain is in those brain states. So meaning that when they hit you with direct energy weapons to the head very badly, they can perpetrate through voice of skull torture and pain, torture and pain, torture and pain, over and over and over again. Let's bring up the sound frequency app again real fast. Watch what sound frequency outputs are picked up when you say the word torture and pain. Okay? Torture and pain. Torture and pain. Notice how it's identical? Torture and pain. Torture, 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 and, pain, pain, pain. All those auditory phonetic sounds are being processed on what? Geez, could it be the purpose of the reason why fucking ultrasound is being processed auditorially in the brain when those words and phrases are said? Through ELF broadcasting, the criminal use of holosonics, voice to skull, and or physical people. And remember, ultrasound can also have a superimposed frequency on it connected to images. I'll show you that right now. Check this out. Let me go to Google. Let me go to Google and type in it and say at Google voice to text translation. Ultrasound images. Okay.
Images of ultrasonography.
There you go.
There you are.
Let me turn off this. Okay, there you go. So how do you think ultrasound can produce the picture of a fetus? Because the thing they put on the stomach is carrying ultrasound waves that have an offset carrier wave on it that can hold visual images.